Welcome back, guys, and this time we will start up and light this scene. First of all, I think we should really jump right into it and duplicate this iPhone and bring it a little bit into place. So let me just duplicate the subdivision surface, but let me deactivate both. And we will move this over here and turn it like this, bring it a little bit into the back, of course. And we still need to move it later on, maybe. We can also go into a side view here if we want to, so we can see a little bit better if it's still overlapping or not. Now we should be fine, I guess. Could even go a little bit closer. Something like this, okay. And we might have to put it a little bit more to the left, because what we can still see here is the S logo. And I think we will just make a ground plane for the shadows for now. We could also make, I really want to make this plane really, really big. So like this. And then I will just bring down here the width segments, of course, and the height segments. We don't need this really. And make this editable and go into edge mode, select this line, extrude, bring this a little bit over here, and then we just bring it up. Because I don't really want to have any, the simple thing is, because I wanted to have it so big, is I don't want to have that the light is casting any shadows here on this line here in the back. But maybe we will render out an alpha anyway, so then this will not matter. And I think we also have to bring up our phones a little bit. Otherwise it will be intersecting with the floor, which should not really be the case here. Let's see if this is really catching the floor. Yeah, it is. It is a little bit. Let's go to the side view again and bring this a little bit down. Let's activate the subdivision surfaces. Okay, doesn't really change. Okay, I think that's good enough. That's definitely good enough. And yeah, let's pull this plane down here. Let's call this floor. Let's bring up a camera, create camera, give it a tag, mirror bridge, physical camera, and let's jump into the camera and go a little bit closer. Let's see the shot here. I mean, we can cut this out anyway in Photoshop, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Let's make sure that the rotation is set to 0, 0, 0. Okay, so we can go down a little bit here in the y-axis in the camera. And let's change maybe the lens to a 50mm, so we have to go back a little bit and a little bit more upward. So let's move the z-axis and go a little bit up. Maybe something like this. I think that's good enough. Okay, and let's bring in some light, create light, area light. I mean, before I start with this, there are two things how we can light this scene. There's a really, really nice plugin, and I would really recommend to get it. This is not because I'm earning any money with it. I'm definitely not. I can promise you that. But it's really, really good, because with this HDR Light Studio, later on when we're working with Octane and so on, the lighting is really, really so easy with the studio. And with easy, I mean like crazy easy. Let's start this up. If you have it installed, render us V-Ray for Cinema 4D, add pre-built hook. This will just simply add an HDRI for our environment and then click on start. And I will just simply make a little introduction. I think when you're really doing a lot and working a lot, I think it's definitely worth the purchase. With Octane, we would have a better preview. What's going on in the scene. With V-Ray it's a little bit different. We have to go here to really see what's going on here. We have to go geometry sync, go collider, and then push temp. Click here on push temp, and this should load our scene file in here with some kind of glossy material. So as you can see, HDR Studio makes everything completely glossy, so we see where the reflections are at. And now what we could do, we could just simply drop in here round light, rectangle lights, hex lights, and so on, gradients, sunlight, Gradient backgrounds, what do I know? Right now a gradient background is loaded by default, but we will get rid of this. So let's turn it off, right click and delete. We could also just simply delete it without turning it off, doesn't matter. And let's drop in a rectangle light. And now as you can see down here, I have this rectangle light, and here on the right side I can adjust the brightness of the light, the opacity, latitude, longitude, width, height, rotation, and so on and so on. But as soon as I start moving this here around down here, you will see that this light is moving with us, and we can exactly see here in this window what's going on and how our light will look like and what it is reflecting. And this can help so much. As you can see now, I'm getting really here those nice little highlights on the phone. So let's drop in another rectangle light. Then we will start up to maybe light up a little bit the top, like this maybe. Already looking good. Let's take the next rectangle light, moving this around. I mean, yeah, maybe like this even, so we get a little bit more overall brightness in the scene. Next rectangle light. I mean, lighting has never been easier. I mean, really not. Okay, let's also light up here this right part a little bit, bring this a little bit more upwards maybe. Maybe a little bit more like this. Yeah, perfect. Now we'll try to get here on this ring a little bit of a reflection. This has already a nice highlight here, the lens. Let's bring in another rectangle light. And let's try to bring a little bit of light into the front. Yeah, okay, here we get a really lot of reflection. Also on the phone, which I don't like. But here we get some kind of reflection here on the button down here, which I really like. To be honest, this is already too much light because it's also hitting the display. I don't want that. Just want to have a little bit of a highlight here on this ring. Maybe like this. This is too much reflection here on the side. I don't like this. Really not. I mean, okay, up here we would get completely HDRI reflections. I mean, maybe we should just simply then light this up with an area light. Okay, here I get a good reflect, but this is too much reflection then on the side, I guess. Because as you can see here, I don't really like this, to be honest. So we would need to light up the button a little bit differently to get here some nice reflections in. But let's just simply say, okay, we are happy for now, and this is the reflection that we want. Maybe let me move this down here a little bit. Maybe I can get here some kind of reflection. No, that's not really working. Okay, so let's get rid of this. So what we can do now is, I mean, it should also only be really a demonstration what you can do with this plugin. So as you can see, just with a few simple clicks, we already got some really nice highlights into this scene or on the phones. So then we can just simply go project, render production HDRI, leave this here as V-Ray, maybe make the resolution a little bit bigger. I wouldn't go higher than 3000 by 1500, it's absolutely not necessary. This will just simply take longer to load, V-Ray and Octane and so on. And then we can save this map. Oh, first of all, let me make a new folder, sorry. Not prepared enough. iPhone product shot lighting. Okay, and let's save this here as a 16-bit XCR. What's the difference between 8-bit, 16-bit and 32-bit? We'll also tell you later on, because I think it's also a little bit important that you know stuff like that. So let's just simply call this HDRI for now. So high dynamic range image, and save this, and then click on render, and this will get rendered out. So we can close this now. And also this, we can delete this here away, or we can leave it like it doesn't really matter. We can just drop this out here. I think the map should already be loaded here, yes. So we just drop the light out of this plugin and set this here maybe to 128. And let's make and set this here, the texture resolution down here to 3000. Click on File Save. Oh, let me save this file differently, maybe here, yes, okay. And let's activate the subdivision surface, and let's make a little test render. Let's see how this looks for now, only with this method. I will pause the video and show it to you as soon as it has finished. Or let's test render it a little bit so I can see if we need to turn up the light. Yeah, and I think we need to. It's really, really dark, okay? So we will bring this up here. Intensity, let's go maybe with 5. Let's go a little bit extreme. And if this is not extreme enough, we will just simply go with 10. But let's see how much light we can get in here. As you can see, V-Ray needs now some time to compile this geometry. This is because of the subdivision surface. Okay, this is still way too dark, so I will go like maybe with 15 now. We could also change this to watts to work with some real life values here. Let's maybe try it with 10 here. This might be already too overbright. Let's leave it as at image for now. Let's try it with 20. If we did sort of, it doesn't really matter if you're really working here with watts or whatsoever. I think for interior exteriors it's more important. For product shot lighting, I don't think it's that important that we really work with some real life values here. We can just go with this default image. Okay. So as you can see, we're already starting to getting this really, really nice highlights. I mean, we have a lot of noise going on, but besides that, we have some really, really nice reflections. Here we also have a reflection. This is coming from the floor, and I think we need to move the Apple logo here a little bit more to the side. So we definitely need to move this phone a little bit further to the left. Let me check this here, and maybe like this. Okay, let's render again. Let's see what we get. I will pause the video. I mean, it looks okay for now. We have some glossy highlights where we need them. That's good. So we don't have to do this with area lights anymore. And you will get this HDRI map as well, by the way. So you can just simply download it and then reuse it. The only thing that scares me a little bit is this Apple logo, because it's really looks a little bit fucked up. But this could also be an anti-aliasing issue. Sorry, by the way, for the fucked up. Now I said it again. Okay, whatsoever. I think the map but does look okay, so this should really be round. Maybe there's a reflecting issue or an anti-aliasing issue that we're seeing here. I'm also only rendering in 800 by 600 right now, so later on this should definitely look better. Okay, so let's reuse this HDRI, but let's bring in like maybe a really, well, maybe not. Let's first of all jump in our camera, click on neutral, so vignetting off. White balance to neutral. We always want to have a neutral response here. F-stop maybe to something like 2.8. Film Musu maybe something like 200. Shutter speed maybe to 100. And let's render again. This should be now way brighter, the overall brightness, which is also important because, as you can see, this shot here is really bright. So a lot of white's going on, and the white is really extremely white. So we should try to get there as well. That's for sure. Okay, and that's now way too over bright. This is almost sweet mother of bejeebers. That's not good. Okay, so let's try it with an f-stop off. We really have to work here with the f-stop a little bit. So let's bring the f-stop maybe up to 4, maybe bring it up to 6. Otherwise, this will still be extremely blurred out. Let's see this. And this is just test rendering over and over again. I mean, this is just how V-Ray works nowadays. As soon as the update comes with the 3.25 version, we should also have an IPR window. So, like in Octane, a live viewer that instantly shows us that also can be GPU accelerated. So as soon as you have an RTE card or an NVIDIA card, you can then instantly see what our light is doing and how stuff looks. With this version, it's still CPU based only, so, and has no live viewer, so we just simply have to test render. But as soon as the new version comes out, I will make an update for all of those tutorials, and this will also save us a lot of time. So as you can see, we're getting definitely a little bit closer here, which I really like. We get some nice highlights here. The only thing that I don't see is my background image. Did I not drop my background image? Where's my background image? What the cappuccino? Why? Where is it gone? Okay, so let's close this for now. Click on File, Save. Let me look at this background image. Oh, it's not loaded anymore. Okay, that's weird. Oh, it's because I did save the file. Okay, okay, I get it. So we have to reload a few of the things. So let's reload here the lens texture. And let's reload here our flash texture. Let's reload our background image. Oh, and let's reload our iPhone image. But that's still loaded correctly. Maybe not in the alpha or something like that. Oh, it is. Okay. Anything else? No, I don't think so. Okay, so let's render this again. And let's see how it does look with the lens texture here in the back. And also here with the texture in the front. Okay, looking way better now. And I think this display also should be a little bit of reflective. I'm not sure if I did give this background any specular. No, I didn't. But this is definitely what we should do. So let's give this some kind of reflection. Let's turn this on, specular layer. Leave this here at 0.99, 1.6 is fine. And let's render once again. So it has some kind of glass behavior, of course. So this is why we leave it really glossy and at an IOR of 1.6. Even though this doesn't look too shady either, like this. Now it might start that the display gets some reflections in. And where we definitely need some kind of reflection is here on this Apple logo. Because you can see there's exactly here coming an area light in. So here you can see the area light, this white streak, and here you can see it's completely dark. And right now we only have it dark. So we need some kind of area light that is shining in here and is exactly hitting this spot. And yeah, we can definitely manage that. That's for sure. And I will show you a little trick if you have Octane installed as well. And if not, it doesn't really matter. Then I just simply give you the values for the next area light, so we get this hotspot here. Or this really nice light. And I think we can even go a little bit brighter maybe. And I really don't like the reflection down here, so we might need to block some light here and see what's going on. Yeah, so now our thing, the flashlight looks really good. The texture is working pretty nicely. This is also working pretty good, the lens back here. The iPhone logo should be a little bit darker, so I don't think really that this iPhone logo is really also glossy material like up there. I think it's way smoother, just a little bit of a different color. So we might have to jump into Photoshop, cut this iPhone logo out, and then use it in the blend. I will show you this quickly, exactly what I mean. Because this shouldn't be so reflective, I think, this iPhone 6 logo. But first of all, let's get the reflection in here on the iPhone logo. And what we can do if we have Octane installed, we can just go, let me save the file first of all. Plugins, Octane live viewer window, then we can have a closer look here. Takes a little bit to load because of the two subdivision surfaces. I should have turned them off before I did this, to be honest. Okay, now it's doing something. As you can see, we need to create a quick CVD Octane material. I will just change this to glossy, index to 8, diffuse to black, so it's exactly the same like in V-Ray, and then just simply drop it onto the iPhone logo, which is not really possible right now. Okay, this is kind of well, that's not really a problem. Let's just simply drop it here onto the back. And then I should see here that's somehow reflective. And now it has to reload. Let me get really rid of the subdivision surfaces. And now I have to find some kind of light. So create light area light. And this is, by the way, a live view, of course, so you can instantly see what's going on. Let me drop an Octane tag on it, a light tag. And let me jump out of the camera. Let me first of all give the camera protection tag, so I'm not moving it. And this, if you don't have Octane installed, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's just really for the people that have it installed quickly. Because this is a simple method that we don't have to test render so much with V-Ray. So we just simply get this light here in. assume where the Apple logo will be. Let's make this even a little bit smaller, so it's not shining on so much stuff. Bring it a little bit into the back, and then we'll rotate it around like this, so we get this streak in this Apple logo. Then let's jump back into the camera. Yeah, and I think we need to move this light a little bit more. A little bit more here into the X. Like this, and then we should exactly get here a streak on the Apple logo. Now we bring this a little bit more into the back. So let's move the Z-axis like this. Bring it a little bit more here, X, like this. Okay, perfect. Bring it a little bit more upwards, like this. Yeah. Okay, perfect. We're getting here reflection now as well, so let's make the light maybe a little bit smaller. Let's just scale it down. Ooh, this was way too much scaling. Now I have to scale a lot to make it bigger again. Maybe I should just go back until the light is there again. Where is my light? Okay, what's going on now? Do I need to re-render Octane? Yes, okay. So let's do the exact same thing again. So Z-axis, bring this here into the back. Make it smaller. Something like this. And let's bring it over here so we get the reflection of our Apple logo, which should be around here, I guess. And bring it up. Something like this. Make it smaller still. Okay, and bring it up. Bring it over here. Something like this, maybe. Bring it up. Like this. Well, let's maybe just test for now. Let's get rid of the Octane thing. Let's get rid of this. Let's bring in a V-Ray bridge. Light tag. Rectangle is fine. Enable shaders, yes. No decay turned off. Subdivision 64 for now. Or 128 maybe for the light. And image maybe something like 40 for now. Let's turn off the other light that we have, so our HDRI, and let's see if we get here any reflection. This is just to find the spot where I need the reflection, because with Octane it's so easy to do that, and with V-Ray I would just simply need to do a test render over and over again till I just simply hit the spot. So this is why Octane is also helpful if we don't have an IPR window yet in V-Ray, because with Octane I still can check it out, bring it in the right place, and then yeah, just simply render it. So let me get rid of this Octane material so we can see our rose gold material again. And as you can see, we're starting to getting here in this reflection. It's a little bit too bright. We can still see it here in the phone, and it's a little bit more to the... I need to move it a little bit more to the right. So let's just X minus 15, and let's see what this looks like here in the logo for now. Okay, maybe even minus 14. So these are the coordinates that you can write down if you didn't have Octane. Okay, right now it already looks good. Let's maybe go for 13.5. Oh, sorry. I mean, you get the scene file anyway. If you don't have this one light right now, just simply load up the scene file and it's all good. Okay, let's move it a little bit down. Let's move it maybe to 36. Okay, perfect. And let's move it a little bit more to the right again. So minus 12.5. Yeah, perfect. I think almost perfect. Let's maybe 11.5. Whoops, 11.5. Let's say 12.5. Whoops, minus 12.5, and let's go down to 35. Here in the Y. Yeah, I think now, let's maybe go minus 12. Now it's a little bit to the left. I want to have it exactly in the middle, like on this picture. I think it's exactly in the middle here. Let's see what it's hitting. Okay, a little bit more, 11.5. And we should be fine. I think this is now really the last change that we need to do. Yeah, I think that's good. That's perfect. Okay, another thing that we can do, because this light is now also reflecting on this phone, which I really don't want, to be honest. But there's a simple trick. We can exclude and include things that the light is lighting up. So I can jump into this light and say here under project, exclude some kind of object that I don't want to have lit. So I can just simply drop in here the subdivision surface, and everything that is under the subdivision surface should not be lit anymore by this light. And as you can see, as soon as I drop this in, the only thing that gets really highlighted right now is really here the reflection, which is, by the way, still way too hard, so we need to turn down the light a little bit. But this phone is not in any way lit up by this light anymore. The only thing that we get is the light that bounces off from this phone and then hits this spot over here a little bit. But that's really the only thing. As you can see, the reflection here is completely gone, which is absolutely perfect, I think. Alright, so let's turn on the other light, and yeah, let's turn down this light maybe to something like, I don't know, 10, and let's make some kind of render here, and let's see what we get. Because I really want to have a smooth reflection here. Okay, it's still way too bright. Let's go down to 1 maybe. And let's see the difference. Sometimes you really want to make hard steps to really see the difference. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. This is already looking way more appealing than before. And like I said, this iPhone 6 logo we probably need to change a little bit. We have to make its own material for this. So we need to go back into Photoshop. And I really want to brighten up this whole scene a little bit more, because right now I think it's a little bit too dark. We're also rendering this without a subdivision surface right now, so this looks a little bit weird, but doesn't really matter. Maybe also this iPhone. I really want to see this iPhone logo now with and without subdivision surface. Maybe the subdivision surface is doing some crazy stuff to us and is deforming this Apple logo really, really kind of weird. And I also don't have enough light here to see now the brighter side. I think we have to go up with the light a little bit more. Yeah, maybe. Okay, first of all, let's turn this light up. Let's maybe turn it back up to 3 or something, and let's enable both subdivision surfaces, because I want to know if those subdivision surfaces, as soon as the object gets deformed, if this is doing anything to our Apple logo to make it look weird. And I think it does do something. Okay, now this is way brighter, so this looks also way better. And I think we still have to change a little bit here the reflection on this thing down here. Yeah, here we get some kind of deformation, as you can see, and that's not really good. So as soon as we upped here the subdivision surface, something is happening with our logo here in the back, which I don't really like, to be honest. But there might be a simple way to fix that. So, okay, let this render. Yeah, exactly here we get this, we get a real problem. Okay. And I think we're getting a little bit too much reflection here from the right side. It's a little bit too over bright here, which I don't really like, to be honest. And we don't get so much reflection from up here. So we might have to put here a overlight or something like this, and here turn down the HDR light a little bit. And first of all, we need to fix the logo. So let me just choose, let me load this texture again, load image, and let me drop this exactly over our blend material that we did use on this phone, because it's really not looking good. I don't like this. Let's just go V-reblend and go select texture text objects. So this will instantly select me where all the objects where I did use the blend object. In this case it was only this back object here. But now I can easily find this when I have so much geometry in the scene, and just simply drop this on here. Yeah, and here I get this deformation. Can you see that? This really doesn't look good. And this might be because of the subdivision surface, because as soon as I turn this off, it looks absolutely perfect. But with this turned on, it doesn't. So what we can do here is we can change the type here, or subdivide UVs. We can set this from standard to boundary, or from boundary to edge. But as you can see, boundary already got rid. This is just a simple, a different method how the subdivision surface then handles UV unwrapping things. And as soon as we set this here to boundary, you can see we get the perfect logo again. And that standard, it's really messed up. So we need to change this here to boundary or to edge. I think even edge is even a little bit better. Even thought we don't see a difference. And let's drop the blend material on it again. And I'm only using this Cinema 4D material so I really can see what's going on in the viewport. Because if I would use a V-Ray material, sometimes you can't see it in the viewport. But with the normal Cinema 4D material, you always get to see the texture in the viewport, which was really important for here now. Okay, so let's render this again. Let's see what we get. We're really taking on one problem after another, so one by the one. And now we should really get a really smooth logo here. And yeah, this is exactly what we get, and that's perfect. Okay, the next thing that we want to fix was a little bit here of the highlights. I think they're just really too strong. And if you see something like that in the scene, really don't say, I think this will look okay anyway. It doesn't. It really doesn't. And if you recognize it, somebody else recognizes it as well. I mean, there are a few things that you can get away with, but there are a few things that you can't get away with. And proper lighting is really important. I mean, look at this picture. This is really good lit. You have here some kind of highlights, that then you get here some shadows. Then here you have some really smooth and nice highlights, which are really looking perfect. And by the way, if you're not hitting the color perfectly straight away, this doesn't matter. We can change the color later on in Photoshop a lot, really a lot. So try to get as close as you can, but don't be sorry if you can't hit it exactly, because there's so much post-work possibilities in Photoshop, After Effects, Nuke, DaVinci Resolve, I don't know, name them all. But it's really not necessary to hit those spots straight away, you know. Okay, right now we're getting a little bit of smoother reflections. I really like this. But the only thing I think I still want to set up is a little bit of an overlight, so I get a little bit more of reflections here on this back phone here on the top as well. Because right now I'm only getting some from the left, and I really don't like this, to be honest. I also want to have a little bit some of them on the top. So what we can do, we jump out here, create another area light, really simple. Light area light, and make this here a little bit smaller. Yes, perfect. Bring this up here, and the light will always shine in the blue direction. This is something that I mentioned before anyway, so always in the Z direction. And we will turn this down like this, just simple overlight, drop on it V-Ray Bridge light tag, and do the same thing over and over again. Enable shadows, area light 128 samples. No decay turned off, so we have some kind of fall off. And we will bring this up maybe even a little bit more. Bring this over here. And let's turn off all the other lights. I think this is really important, that you only see what this one light is then doing. So this is, as soon as I create a new light, I just simply turn off all the other lights. And then I see, okay, what is this light exactly doing and how bright is it? Because if you have all the other lights turned on, you probably won't see anything. I mean, you see up the lit up scene, and at some point you might also see what this light is doing, but I think in this way you can just simply manage it way better what's going on. And then when you found, okay, the right lighting for this one light here, we can turn back on the other light. So as you can see, we're getting here a little bit of a highlight here on the lens, and a little bit of a highlight here on the top, and also here on the top, which is important for us. So here I'm getting a little bit of light, which is good. Might be a little bit too strong right now. Let's maybe bring it a little bit more to the left. And a little bit more backwards. And let's change the intensity here maybe to 6. Jump back in. And render region. So only want to see what's doing on the top. It shouldn't be doing anything else. Yeah, now we're getting a really nice reflection here on the top, and a really subtle reflection here. Because here we already got a reflection before, so I don't want to have the lightning too hard on the front phone. I only want to have really some reflection on this phone. So I could also just simply say to this light, exclude please my first phone that is in the front, and only light up the back phone. And then we turn back up our other lights and make a full render. And let's see where we stand and what we still need to fix. I mean, we still have to go a little bit more brighter in the complete scene, so we have to play around a little bit with the camera. And maybe fix here a little bit the reflection on the button, even though we have here a nice reflection. I think it's not good enough. Let me open up this picture again. Where is it? Here we go. Okay. So as you can see here, we have some kind of reflection, then it turns dark, and then here we have some kind of reflection. And I really want to have a little bit of a similar reflection, you know? Because right now it doesn't really look too good. Okay. And also let me see the rest here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, looking good. Looking good for now. We might also want to turn up the light, the top light, maybe a little bit. And we might also want to bring in 2 side lights, maybe, to light this up a little bit better. I think the HDRI, I mean, this was just really for preview purposes before with this HDRI, so I think we might need to get rid of the HDRI and really make this only with area lights ourselves. But let's just simply, for now, create an area light. Oh, let's duplicate this light here. Let's call this here overhead. Overhead. And this light here was... What kind of light was this for? This was for... Oh, yeah. Reflection Apple logo. Reflection Apple logo. And we just duplicate this overhead and call this side light right. And bring it over here. And let me disable those lights only in the viewport so I'm not seeing them. Because at some point it will just simply be too much of everything in the scene, too much lines and points floating around, and then I can't really concentrate anymore on this one light. Also do the same thing, or I do the same thing for the camera. And let's make this light a little bit bigger, something like this and something like this. Let's bring it down here. Let me check if we're already under the floor. Yes, we are. And let's bring it over here maybe. Maybe something like this. Let's jump back into the camera. Let's disable the other 3 lights and only the side right for now, because I really want to see where we are at. Only with this right light and what kind of reflections we get. Okay, so we're getting down here some kind of reflections. And we're also getting some kind of reflections here. Okay, this is from the floor, right? Yeah. I think this is somehow the floor. Okay, not perfect yet. So let's move this light a little bit around. Let's maybe move it a little bit more to this side. Let's go a little bit extreme with the moving, so I can really see a difference, and if it makes any difference. I mean, it should, of course. It's still only lighting up the down part. So just this part here, and then it turns black. So what we can do is we just simply move this light a little bit like this. Let's maybe rotate it a little bit. Let's make it here a little bit bigger. Turn it up a little bit. Whoop, whoopsie. And let's make it like this. And I really want to see what I get now. But I don't really want to hit spots. I really only want to light up the side, really, to be honest. And I think this streak here is fine enough. We don't really need more, to be honest. Really not. I think that's really good enough, because the rest is HDRI lit anyway. We get some highlight here, which is not too bad. Let's just simply turn back on all the other lights and see what we get. And if this looks now a little bit better lit here on the side. Yeah, it already does, because we're also getting some light here now, which I really, really like, to be honest. Okay, perfect. And the highlight here is also good. Maybe here on the left side, I still want to have a left light as well, a left side light, I guess. So let's duplicate this and let's rotate it back and bring it over here, just simply to the right, to the left side. Rotate it for 180 degrees. Okay, perfect. And let's bring it down like this. And maybe bring it a little bit closer. Bring it a little bit up. Whoop. And this should already be good enough. And let's just simply check the light, the left light only. So let's turn off everything else at lights that we have in the scene. And let's see what we get. Might be even a little bit too... Well, I like this highlight. Let's just see how everything plays together, and we also get a little bit of a better highlight here. Might be a little bit too bright. But let's check it with all the other lights, then we can decide if this is okay or not. And let's call this side light left. Okay, let's turn back on all the other lights and let's see what we get. And if this plays really, really good together. At least I hope so. I think it does. I think. Maybe that's a little bit too bright now, I think. Maybe not. I think this is really a matter of taste, to be honest. Really a matter of taste. Might be too bright, but at least we're getting here some highlight as well, which I really like. Or some better highlight here. Let's maybe also set this light here, both lights here, to invisible. I don't want to have them in the scene somehow. Even thought, okay, the render was now okay. And I think the standing, this light is maybe coming in a little bit, so I just want to make sure that I don't see it in the final render. Okay, let's maybe go down with this light here on the left a little bit, maybe to something like, I don't know, 6. 6 might be fine. And yeah, let's go up with the camera a little bit. Let's change the ISO here maybe to 400. And let's render, let's see how bright we get this picture now. Because we are still a little bit dark, I think, overall. So I really want to have the whites to shine like really white, you know. Oh yes, but that's now like overkill. Yeah, that's really overkill. Wow, oh noes. Okay, we don't want to have an overkill, that's for sure. Let's change this back to 200. Let's maybe just go with the f-stop one lower. Let's maybe go with the f-stop to 5. Maybe this will give us exactly what we need. At least I hope so. I mean, we can tell right away, as soon as the raycast accelerator is through, we can exactly see what's going on and already tell if it's too bright or not. And that's over bright as well. So we really only have to... We're only allowed to make really small changes here. Man, oh man. What can we do? What can we do? Let me render this here once again. I just want to see a full render with the light that we have right now. Really takes some time here. Almost 16-17 seconds to load the geometry in. And maybe it's here already a little bit too overbright. And we definitely have to render this with an alpha channel, that's for sure. I will show you how you can do this as well. So we will make the complete background inside of Photoshop and just exporting the shadows and the phones to Photoshop. So we're getting some kind of shadow on the floor. We might also could do this in Photoshop as well. And then just simply, this is probably what they did with this shot, because this doesn't really look like it did get out. This GIF, by the way, I think is really absolutely perfect. Yeah, but why? I think it's really they probably did it to get this perfect white background. So those phones are simply cut out, and maybe they did even fake the shadow later on in Photoshop. So not everything you see is completely 3D normally. So they might not even use this floor here. I mean, maybe they did use a floor, maybe not. What we should do first of all, I think I need some kind of front light, to be honest, because this is still way too dark here, but I can't go any further up with the camera, because otherwise all the highlights that we created and so on are then just simply too over bright. So we need some kind of front light here for the complete scene. So I will just duplicate this with this called front light, and I will make sure that this is really big, so it's really shining on every single phone, so we are not getting any reflections really, because the light is just simply everywhere, which would be really good. Let me adjust this light here a little bit in the rotation. Okay, perfect, and let's bring it into the back here, in front of the phones. Still need a little bit of rotation here, like this. Okay, perfect. Let's make it way bigger, something like this. And let's rotate it like this as well. No, this was so wrong. Yes, okay, and let's bring it up like this. Okay, and let's rotate it like this a little bit. Okay, perfect, and let's bring it down like this. Okay, that's good. Let's turn off all the other lights, jump back into the camera, and let's see what we get, because I wanna have some bright phones here. At least that they are really white. Okay, that's not enough. The problem is that we lose here the reflection afterwards. Okay, I think it's okay if it's only affecting this phone, to be honest, anyway. And we might have to get rid of the plane, because this is also giving us here some kind of reflection, which is not good. So let me exclude first of all the left phone. So let's go here, project, front light. Oh, since I duplicated those lights, this is also... Okay, overhead was clear, side... Let's get rid of all those subdivision surfaces in the side left and side right, and also here in the front light. And let's drop in the front light here the subdivision surface 1. So this is our back thing. So it's only illuminating now the right phone. And this is really cool about 3D. You know, you wouldn't have the possibility in the real world if you would do this with a real camera and a real studio setup. It just simply wouldn't be possible to do this like this. So yeah, this is why I love 3D as well, to be honest. Let's make this a little bit brighter. Let's bring this up maybe to, I don't know, let's go nuts and bring it up to 10. We really escalate today. Extremely. Okay. Might be looking good. Also giving us here some highlights on those buttons, which I like. A little bit of an over bright reflection here on this button, which is also fine, I guess. I mean, we could exclude this button only as well, which would be possible. I think we even have to go a little bit brighter here with this light, so let's go 14. Let's check this again, because I really want to have this white color here, white. I mean, we could... Yeah, okay, I think here we are definitely where we want to be at, and I think we need a little bit more saturation after all on this orange thing here. But this shouldn't really be much of a problem, to be honest. Let's turn on all lights back together. Let's see what we get here. I will just pause the video and show it to you as soon as it has finished. Okay, this looks now way too over bright, really not good. So we need to go down here, maybe something to 6 or something like that. When all lights play together, this doesn't look too good, to be honest. So I really only want to change the front light for now. Let's see what we get. Now we might be a little bit too dark here. Maybe on the back phone. Maybe we need some different light, because as you can see we have here, it's a little bit over bright here. Maybe I should just make the light that we did use here to bring this reflection into the Apple logo, just make it a little bit bigger and let it shine here on the phone, on the back phone as well. So we get here a little bit more light in. I think this phone looks now fine. Even thought it gets a little bit little bit desaturated the picture. We could also bring in the picture, of course, later on in Photoshop, if you're not satisfied with this. But if the rest of the light just simply looks good, we can just leave it and then bring the picture in later on in Photoshop. This is probably what they did here in this shot as well, to be honest. Still way too overbright, as you can see. Don't like this. We need to go down even more. So let's go maybe down to 2. And let's only render the right phone for now, so we get a faster preview of what's going on. You can really tell if this is too overbright here on the reflections as well on the ring. If this is just simply pure white or something like that, you know, okay, this is... our light is just simply too bright in the scene whatsoever. Yeah, and then we have just to change it down. I mean, this is just how lighting works, you know. It's re-rendering, adjusting values, re-rendering, adjusting values. Sounds a little bit odd, but in the end, when you have the full shot and you're really satisfied with it, you know, it was worth it. And I really love this work. I don't know. I mean, I love working with shaders. I love working with light because it's a lot of fun. You can learn a little bit something every day. And yeah, like I said, it's really a lot of fun. So yeah. I wouldn't want to have it any other way, and this is why I'm a 3D artist and not, I don't know, something else. Okay, might look okay now. I mean, I even start to like this reflection in the front. Let's maybe also bring this down here to 1, maybe. And one thing I want to do is I want to set up now some multipasses so we can finally get rid here of the noise as well. So let's bring in our standard channels, a reflection. Then we need a specular, we need a lighting, we need a GI, we need sample rate. And I think that's good enough. Lighting, specular, reflection, yes. And let's set up the multipasses here. Multipass, let's add multipass post effects. And let's make a full render now. Yes, maybe let me change here the brute force GI already to 128, because this will definitely generate some noise. And I will make a full render and show it to you when it's finished. And then we will try to get rid of the noise. Then we'll see where we add, how we like our reflections and so on. And when we have fixed everything and we really like the shot, we will just render out an alpha, so the phones only, and then we will do the rest in Photoshop. I mean, this is just how it works. There's also always a little bit of post work involved, really depending on us how much it is. Let's check these layers for now. Single pass GI. Yeah, still a little bit of noise. Lighting looking fairly good, to be honest. Let's wait here for the phones, a little bit specular. Maybe we have some noise in here, but it's okay, I guess. But in a reflection we have a lot of noise. So I think the GI is looking okay, but we could still go a little bit higher. Lighting looks absolutely okay, so no noise there. So let's jump maybe into our glossy materials and so on. Let's bring it up here to 128. Also here 128 and here 128, and let me go up a little bit more with the GI, maybe 256, and anti-aliasing. Didn't even check the anti-aliasing yet. Now, sometimes I'm really mixing up German with English, which is kind of funny. So we get some nice anti-aliasing exactly where we need it. So here on the edges, we get some anti-aliasing on our texture, which is good. And we're getting some anti-aliasing here, yeah, on the edges of the phone, which is really good. Let's check this here again. Let's check the GI. Looking way better now. I think lighting, we didn't have a problem. Specular, looking okay. Reflection is now really clean. Yeah, I think we are good now. I think that's something that we could use. And let me really bring this now here to full HD. So output 1920 by 1080. And let me move back. Let's get rid of the protection tag. Let's move back with the camera a little bit, because this did of course change with the resolution. Let's put a protection tag back on it. And I will make a full render now with this full HD, and then we will see how our phone looks at a really bigger resolution, so we can really see a lot more details than by 800 by 600. And so yeah, so we'll pause this video and show it to you as soon as it has finished. Okay, so the render is finished. Took us 7 minutes and 34 seconds to get this completely clean. And we have some issues, that's for sure. I think the light that is coming from the right is way too bright. Since we did change the resolution and also then change the camera a little bit, this area light is not in place anymore, so we need to adjust this as well. And then here on the left side, this is also a little bit too over bright, so I don't really like this, to be honest. And we still need some light on this phone as well, so we need to bring in another light here. The problem really here is, and also we still need to change the iPhone logo. I think this is now way too much for the first part. I think we will only change the light here a little bit because I already recorded almost 1 hour. Let's just simply do the things that we still can do in this part. So the side light right, we will change down maybe to something like 2. And let's see how this looks now. Then we will bring in here the area light and also change here the reflection on the left. And then we will see in the next part what else we can do. Maybe this was now it did go down a little bit too low. Maybe. Let's just simply check it. At least we are way lower now. I'm not sure if this looks good now. I think we go a little bit, let's maybe change this to 4. And on the left side, we will go down to 3 maybe. And maybe even changing the top a little bit. So the overhead, let's change this down maybe to 5. And the reflection Apple logo, we will bring in a little bit more to the left. Let me just look at this if I'm doing this right. If I'm doing, yes, okay, so 11, we need to bring it like maybe 13, 14. Let's jump back into the camera. Let's pre-render the logo here. Let's see where our reflection is at. We might even need to bring it down a little bit, I think. Yeah, now we need to bring it more to the right, so let's go with 12 and bring it more down. Let me be 33. Let's re-render. And that's exactly what I meant with Octane before. Now we just simply have to re-render this part with V-Ray over and over again. Okay, we need to go a little bit more to the right. I'm not sure if I think I did put it to the left now, right? I think I did put it now to the left, right? Also sounds kind of funny. Yeah, I think I did. Okay, let's bring this to 10.5. Let's see what we get. Yeah, okay, and we have it back into place and we did some major changes. So I will let this render once again, and then we will make a little bit of fine tuning with the light, and then we'll close this part and do the rest in the next part, including the post work. So I will show you this as soon as this has finished rendering. So I think we're looking much better now. I think only we lost a little bit of overall brightness. So I think we can go a little bit, change a little bit the camera. And we need to light up this left phone a little bit more whatsoever. And we definitely need a little bit more anti-aliasing here, because I'm not getting any anti-aliasing here on this iPhone thing. As you can see, there's no green, no red whatsoever, so this doesn't get any anti-aliasing. This looks really, really pixelated. So that's not good as well. Also here on the ring, if we change this here to 1%, we get a little bit here of anti-aliasing issues as well. So we need to get rid of this. So I will close the part here, and the next part we'll just simply try to light up this phone here a little bit better without bringing here in another reflection or Apple logo, which will be kind of hard because this is not modeled. This is just simply a shader, because normally I could just simply then say, okay, exclude this geometry, this Apple geometry here from the light that I'm putting up here in front then. This will not be possible in this case because it's just a shader that is on the back, so this will be lit as well. So I have to think about a solution. Maybe we have to draw our own Apple logo and then extrude it out and bring it here into the back. And we still have to change the iPhone 6 logo as well. This needs to get a little bit of a different color. This doesn't have to be the same glossy color as the Apple logo. So we need to change this as well. So I need to think about a few things, how to fix this up, but we can do it definitely. So in the next part we will finish this with post-production and the rest, render it out with final settings, and then making our final product shot that we can deliver to our client. So thanks for listening. I hope you learned a little bit something, of course. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next